Hello everyone. Okay, so this video I wanted to talk about the North Node and the South Node changing. And this video is a little bit late because from Cancer and Capricorn being in the North Node and South Node, so it's switched now to where Gemini is in the North Node and Sagittarius is in the South Node. So we can look at this in two ways. How will it affect us right now that, are living our lives, right? And want to know the astrological meaning and how we can apply it to our life. And then we can also talk about it being in the birth chart. And what does it mean for people being born within this 1.5 years? So May 5th, 2020 is when this switch happened, where Gemini is now in the North Node for 1.5 years, and Sagittarius is in the South Node. And this will end on January 18, 2022. So we can look at this where Mercury rules Gemini, right? Mercury is about the mind, okay? And we have Jupiter that rules Sagittarius, and Jupiter that rules Sagittarius is about blessing you with gifts and good lucks and overcoming things and prosperity. That's why, Sagittarius is so optimistic, because they're ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is like, I feel lucky, I'll get through this. People always say Sagittarius will get in trouble for something or do something wrong, but they'll be like, it'll seem like they're easily forgiven, but it's more of an energetic thing where it's like, okay, they have that energy about them, just like Gemini. So it's a good match. Your opposite sign on the birth chart is a good match, but they can also be tension. And the human tension of all of these signs will be jealousy and insecurity. And that's what we have to fight, or jealousy, insecurity, or low self-esteem, okay? And being afraid of being judged and so on. So this will be the issue. And every sign, Gemini is known as a twin, right? And having two different personalities. But every sign has two different personalities. We all have different, personalities, different behaviors at certain times. So it all depends, right? We all have emotions, so we're not all going to be one thing all the time, but we do have a dominant characteristics to ourselves, yes. But everyone, we do have two sides. So with the North Node plays a very strong part, because it's our future, it's where we're going, it's our life purpose. And Gemini being there with Mercury has a strong energy for the next 1.5 years, okay? So we can look at this aspect. So we can think about Mercury with the lower mind and the higher mind. So I'm going to try and explain this, right? So something that I was looking up. And it talks about if the lower mind has like two ends, like two ends, the weak end and the strong end. The weak end would be the reason, and the strong end will be the desire. So you have a reason to do something, you have and the desire. Okay, so you can now implement the higher mind, and the higher mind's weak end would be the intellect, but the intellect isn't strong enough by itself to give up on a desire that is of the lower mind, right? So the desire might not be really that good, and your reason for that desire might not be really good. So just the intellect by itself isn't strong enough to give up on that desire. So that desire now is being reasoned out, right? And that desire being reasoned out, it could still be a desire, just like being willfully ignorant of something, right? So we have these choices to make, and Mercury is going to help us to really better understand how we are, if we are going to focus on that. So with this Mercury, we want to really focus in on the Mercury and the North Node. What is my life purpose? What opportunities are there for me? How can I take advantage of of this moment. And that's really being consistent with your new moons and your full moons, and, you know, whoever you're following, listening to, but really doing the work yourself, like learning, looking at your chart and saying, okay, where is Gemini in my chart? Where is Sagittarius in my chart? How can I benefit from these moons? It's really having a daily practice and staying focused and really making up your mind, because the Gemini and Sagittarius energy is really fun, right? There's a positive side to it, but then the negative side to it could be competition, right? And it could be friendly and fun. At first, it can start out as desires and so on. But if it's around each other too much, right? Like it could get to be, they're both powerhouses in their own way of really pulling in attention, because there's air in Gemini and there's fire in Sagittarius. So they really they work great together, but there has to be a cooling down period of focus, right? And time to be by ourselves. And we all need time to be by ourselves. So it all reminds us of earth and water getting along well, and fire and air getting along well, but we all need that cooling down point. So this year and a half is going to be great, but it's a great time to really focus in on how strong your words are, okay? The power of words, because that Gemini is in the North Node pushing forward the future. So the words are going to have a strong impact. And then the Sagittarius from the past can flame up things from the past life, past relationships. So there's a lot to tangle in there, but staying focused, making up your mind is really going to be something that is powerful. If you meditate, there's Kundalini work that can be done in a positive way to really help us move, or help you move through this year. Okay, so it's that fire and air dynamic, and things are going to happen very fast. The positive side is that things can be fun. There could be a lot of parties, a lot of creativity, a lot of getting out there. There's no time for feeling stuck, no stuck energy. There's a need to be free and to do what you want to do. This is a very dynamic connection between these two zodiac signs. So like I said, there's competition. It could be good, it could be negative, right? So we have to look at the lower earthly mind and the heavenly higher mind, right? So when we're communicating, we have to really look at the desire, right? Both desires can be fun, but then they can be toxic, especially the lower mind, but so can the higher mind as well. The higher mind can use that is understanding and intellect and use it in a negative way. So it has to have that really good balance, right? That yin and yang. It has to have that really good balance. So this is you working with yourself, or with your perfect match. Even if you're not a fire or air sign, it's really finding your perfect energetic match to really have your energy at its best for this year and a half. Okay, so it's working great together, as long as one doesn't feel any kind of lower ego energy of jealousy, or feeling like they're not getting enough attention or spotlight or something like that, feeling insecure. But really knowing your limits and the other person's limit, especially if you're a Gemini or a Sagittarius or a fire and an air, is really knowing what your limits are. Okay, so the next really important thing is to really look at the other important thing is to really look at the high creativity energy that's going to be happening, right? And the fun and amusement. This year is going to be really fun, especially what we're going through right now. When things get better, it's going to be over the top. It's going to be really fun, but we still have to be, like mindful and still be aware. It's a lot of things are going to be very popular. So if something hits big, it's going to be huge. Okay, this year there's going to be a need to have a strong foundation. Okay, be very grounded. Every opportunity that there's an earth sign in a new moon or a full moon, or a day that's in an earth sign, it's a good time to get grounded. A day or a new moon or full moon that's in a water sign is a great time to nurture yourself. So really take advantage of these days of our practice, whether you're meditating and so on. Okay, so there's a need for that. Anyone that is born, okay, I'll get to the birth at the end. this is like the nodes of desire, right? The north node and the south node is your desires, right? Your past desires and your present desires. The past desires is the south node, like the past life, past relationship, your past desires, and how to shed those, right? And you're shedding them with fire, right? So you can do that in your practice, because that's the south node is Sagittarius. And then the north node is your future and your present moment and working forward that, and you can use that with your words. So chanting and anything with words is going to be very powerful. Like, I feel that. Boom, I feel that. Okay, so you want to let go of being right all the time. When you look up Gemini and Sagittarius's connection, because it's a great connection. That's the north node and south nodes always work in opposite signs, right? So the greatest lesson for this year and a half is to let go of being right all the time, right? And to really focus on the details of things rather than the big picture in everyone's life, in your whole entire life, right? What decisions are you going to make this year, 2020, right? This calendar year, right? Don't focus on the big picture and the hoopla and it's great. But when it comes to serious matters that can really affect you, look at the small print, look at the fine print, okay? And not the big picture. The big picture, it's like, yeah, look at the big picture. That's good for certain things, right? When you know, we're building our home or whatever, you're doing something that is going to be practical. We're getting solar panels. We're getting, something that's going to be beneficial in the long run. That's the big picture. That's a good example. Remember, I said the yin and the yang, right? The higher mind, the lower mind can be both good or bad. So looking at the big picture, right? It's not as important as the small details. Okay, so now let's look at the being born now under this time frame of a year and a half. So being born between May 5th, 2020 to January 18th, 2022. People born at this time, you're just looking at mainly that Mercury and Jupiter connection. The positive side is that they can make things happen very fast, but they have to be grounded to handle it, right? So like in conversations with people that are into astrology, and you look at say this one zodiac sign, how could this one zodiac sign person that's say famous, because we can see them as an example, they're a star, they're in the light, right? So when you look up at the stars, you can see it, right? And physical stars at night and a person, right? So we can see it. It just means that it has a strong presence, like a 10th house presence, right? And I'll talk about that for this coming up lunar eclipse on June 5th. Is happening in the 10th house of the MC, where it's your life. You're getting attention for the things that you do. So I digress, but back to this. So yes. So how will this affect them being born, right, in this time frame? They will receive a lot of attention, but you're seeing, okay, this one zodiac sign, one, say Sagittarius, one is really successful and they're grounded, but they could have bad things happen in their life, but you don't see their lows and they won't collapse, but then this other Sagittarius would just really hit hard, and it's hitting them hard, even though they're still fighting and surviving. So there's two different types of Sagittarius, right? So they have to be very mindful of depression, and especially if they're born within this time frame and they're Sagittarius, they have to be mindful of depression and bad things that lead up to depression, right? And it's the same thing for Gemini as well. They're both very strong signs that will fight through things, and some will fight through it and really triumph over it, and then there'll be other Gemini or Sagittarius that will just be great, and then after a while they hit a struggle. So and this is for all signs really, but energetically what you have to do is always balance out things that you're doing spiritually, right? So really taking care of your karma. Don't say get really lucky with something or get a blessing and then don't repay it. Then you're going to be living, you're going to pay that back. It's kind of like being willfully ignorant of not living up to your end of something, right? So it's really keeping your word, or just, I don't want to keep talking about it because then it'll lose its strong meaning, but basically just watching your karma. And that's for everyone, but especially them, because your words are very powerful, and you will attract a lot of attention, especially if your chart will line up like with a strong 10th house, a strong third house for Gemini, okay? And a strong Jupiter placing, a strong Mercury placing when you're born within this time frame can be really good. So if you're planning on having kids, a lot of people, they will plan out when they do get pregnant so that the child will have a favorable time to be born astrologically, okay? So that's a positive side of this North Node and South Node. And a lot of times people born in this time would be, say, they had a strong Gemini in the past life or a strong Sagittarius in their past life, okay? And then it would be, their past life would have been a Sagittarius, right? And they'll really have to learn about their weaknesses as a Sagittarius. And then for their Gemini, they would have to really embrace, and not be shy, but embrace their strong qualities in being a Gemini, and making sure that you're surrounding yourself with good energy, really, really good energy, okay? So I'm trying to think of my chart as well and see how that applies for me. And I can see how it applies to me. And make sure that whoever you are being born, your downfall would be trying to please. If you're not a Gemini or Sagittarius, and even if you're a Gemini or Sagittarius, your downfall would be trying to please a Gemini or Sagittarius. Don't try to earn their respect or like, because then you're always going to lose, because number one, you're stepping outside of yourself, and you should be working on you, but also you're never going to live up to that person. But no matter what zodiac sign you are, if you're born within this time frame, one of these signs, say if you're a fire sign, and you'll naturally connect with a Gemini. If you are a Sagittarius, you'll naturally connect with a Gemini. So, and if you're an opposite sign, like say if you're another air sign, you'll connect with a Gemini. If you are another fire sign, you'll naturally connect with the opposite. You will naturally connect to an air sign. If you're a Sagittarius, if you're a Gemini, you'll naturally connect to that sign. So it's very interesting. I want to explain that better. So say that if you are another air sign, right? So all air signs, it might say, oh, your married partner is this sign, but you would get along really well with a Gemini, right? So if you're a Libra, you'll get along really good with a Gemini as a partner, like a romantic partner or whatever. And then for a Sagittarius, you would find that a Sagittarius would be your ideal partner, even though, and you're another fire sign, like a Libra, like a Leo would get along really great with a Sagittarius, right? So it doesn't always have to match up that, this zodiac sign is your perfect sign, right? Your opposite, right? So you can stay in your same element and have a wonderful partner from your same element. Hopefully that makes sense, right? So, and then their chart will complement you, because their chart will either have a north node that is actually your sign, if that makes sense. Right? So you could be, say, a Gemini and find that you get along so well with a Libra, but that Libra's north node would be a Gemini, Okay, so yeah, I think I did enough with this video, but yeah, the lunar nodes shifting is going to be great, and really take advantage of say Saturday is associated with the moon, right? Like in Vedic, so like the chanting, that would be really powerful for everyone, right? And when you're born, and I said this before, the Mercury and the Jupiter is a very powerful connection. So look at your North Node and your South Node and look at what planets those are. You have a strong connection with those planets. But be really mindful of communication, and words are going to be very strong for this next year and a half. So if something is going to shift that's going to be very bad, words are going to make it even worse. So really pay attention to the fine details. All right, I hope this helps. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.